The first standard of Unit 5, MGSE 8, Value Expressions 5, it deals with slope and y-intercept. Now, you have kind of dealt with this in the previous unit, but this is solely based on y-intercept and slope. Now, y-intercept, we use the equation y equals mx plus b, where y and x represent a coordinate on a linear equation graph. M is the slope. Slope is the number that describes the direction and the steepness of a line, also known as rise over run. And you can also use the equation that I taught you last week. M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And also B, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where the line intersects the y-axis, or the value of y when x is 0 in a linear equation. The graph of a linear equation is a straight line, always. The steepness of the line is called the slope. The slope shows the rate at which two quantities are changing. Specifically, is the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change, or rise over run. A line that slants from left to right has a positive slope. For this graph, as the x values increase, the y values also increase, and that's considered a positive slope. Negative slope. A line that slants down from left to right has a negative slope. For this graph, as the x values increase, the y values decrease. When you have a horizontal line has a slope of 0 because there is no vertical change. An undefined slope. Now, this should look familiar. A vertical line test, when dealing with functions, it's not a function. Well, guess what? When it is a vertical line dealing with slope, it's an undefined slope because there is no horizontal change. A fraction with a denominator of 0 is undefined because you can't divide by 0. And rise over run would have a denominator of 0. So that's undefined. It can't happen. Okay? What is the slope of this line? Now I'm going to teach you two different ways. Okay? I'm going to show you rise over run, and then I'm going to show you the formula method. So the first step is choose two coordinates. I'm going to choose -4, 5. And then my next coordinate is going to be 1, 1. Now I'm going to do the method that I taught you how to do last week first, and then I'm going to show you rise over run. Okay? x1, y1, x2, y2. 1 minus 5 over 1 minus -4. 1 minus 5 is -4. 1 minus -4 is positive 5. So it does have a negative slope. Now you can look at that graph and tell it has a negative slope. And it has a slope of 4/5. Now, let's do the rise over run method. Starting here, I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4. My numerator is 4 because that is the rise. I rise 4. And then I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has a rise of 4 and a run of 5. So the slope is 4/5, and then I look, does it have a positive or negative slope? It is negative, so the slope is -4/5. As you can tell, you can use any method you'd like. You can use the formula, or you can use rise over run. And in this standard, I want you to do both. Similar figures have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. The ratios of the length of their corresponding sides are equal. Okay? Does the slope of a non-vertical line change depending on which 2 points you use to determine it? Okay? So we are using a normal line, and I want to know, is the slope the same? So I'm going to go 3 rise, 2 run. Is that equivalent to of a rise of 6 and a run of 4. Cross multiply. Guess what? Those are similar, they are proportional, so those slopes do work. What is the slope of a line that passes through 3, -6, and 5, 1? First step, identify the points. So, 3, -6, x1, y1, 5, 1, x2, y2. I plug that into the formula. 1 minus -6 divided by 5 minus 3. 1 minus -6 is +7. 5 minus 3 is 2. The slope would be 7 over 2. I rise 7, move and run 2. A locksmith charges a flat fee for each house call plus an hourly rate as shown by the graph below. Find the slope of the graph. What does the slope represent? Now, I'm going to go a step further here. I'm going to find the slope, but then I want to write the equation in slope-intercept form. And remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. And the whole purpose of the x and y, that's the coordinates that go along with this graph. So my first step is to find the slope, 70 minus 50, divided by 2 minus 1, and I get 20 over 1. So my slope, m, is equivalent to 20. Now, I want to find the flat rate. That is the y-intercept. That's what you're starting with. So just for showing up, he charges you $30. That's the b. That's where it's hitting the y-axis. So if I want to write this in slope-intercept form, y equals 20x plus b. Y equals 20x plus 30. Some linear equations have two variables. For example, y equals 2x plus 5 includes the variables x and y. All of the ordered pairs in the form xy that make that equation true are solutions of the equation. So no matter what ordered pair you plug into this equation, no matter what, it's going to be a solution for that graph, no matter what. Remember, where the graph crosses the y-axis, it is called the y-intercept, which is also b. Below is a graph of the linear equation y equals 2x plus 5. Identify its y-intercept. Okay? The y-intercept, that's easy. It's hitting the y-intercept at 5. So b is 5. Then, okay? But I can also look at the equation and know that as well. Now, I want to know if that equation works. So I'm going to choose a coordinate. Well, that's easy. 0, 5. Now let's plug that in. 5 equals 2 times 0 plus 5. That cancels out. 5 equals 5. That is a true statement. The equation y equals 2/3 x plus 1 is in slope-intercept form. Slope is the 2/3, and the y-intercept is 1. Look at the graph, look at the equation. It does match up, it does work. Okay, my last example. I've been given a slope, I've been given a coordinate, but I don't know the y-intercept. To do this, you use the slope-intercept form equation y equals mx plus b. I know the slope is 4/3. Y equals 4/3 x plus b. Now, I've been given a coordinate, 3, 5. So I'm going to take that coordinate and plug it into this equation. Remember, x is 3, y is 5. 5 equals 4/3 times 3 over 1 plus b. And my main goal is to solve for b, to find the y-intercept. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 over 3 plus b. 5 equals 4 plus b. Subtract 4 to both sides. 1 equals b. So now I'm going to write my slope-intercept form. y equals 4/3 x plus 1. So my slope-intercept form equation for that problem is y equals 4/3 x plus 1.